All right, let's get it. Welcome into Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr., coming your way on today's show. All of the latest Sixers news and rumors on the Boston Celtics, the favorites right now to trade for Kevin Durant, which, whether the Sixers trade for him or not, that impacts Philadelphia. And we'll take a look at Tyrese Maxey's trade value. Could he be the piece outside of Jaylen Brown to get a Kevin Durant trade done when you look at some of the trade packages that teams can put together around the NBA? That's really the speculative talk right now among some NBA circles. First, though, before we talk Sixers, have an announcement to make. Here at Chat Sports, I'm putting more NFL properties onto my plate. Going to be taking over as the full-time host for Philadelphia Eagles Now. My boy Thomas Mott did a great job in growing that channel to 31,000 subscribers, but now I'm going to become the full-time host. Announced that earlier today on my Twitter page. By the way, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter and IG at Chase_Senior for Sixers news and rumors and content, and now Philadelphia Eagles stuff. So when it comes to the NFL, in addition to covering the San Francisco 49ers, also going to be covering the Philadelphia Eagles as well, something that I'm really excited about considering I grew up in Westchester and have known about this team and loved this team for a really long time. Now I get to talk about them on a daily basis, which for me is really a dream come true. For those of you who know about Eagles Now, it's one of the largest, most successful Eagles channels on YouTube, but we're going to continue to grow it, make it even better. What you can expect over there, now that it's in-house and not remote, daily videos on the Philadelphia Eagles, entertaining and informative analysis, just like what we do here. News, rumors, breaking news, but also at some point going to start doing some live shows as well as some watch parties. And for Sixers Now in the future, hopefully we can do a lot of that stuff as well as we continue to grow both channels here. So one more reminder, you can subscribe to Philadelphia Eagles Now, youtube.com/Eagles TV, and then make sure you give me a follow on Twitter and IG at Chase_Senior. Feel free to slide in my DMs so that we could chop it up, talk all things Sixers, but also if you're a Sixers fan, a lot of you who are Philadelphians are also Eagles fans. That's why I'm telling you about the switch. Before we get to some Sixers talk, if you are a fan of the Birds, what up, Bird Gang? Stand up, show out in the comments section. Type fly, Eagles fly, right now in the comments. Okay, you came here for some Sixers news and rumors, so I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't chop it up and talk some hoops. So let's get to the latest on Kevin Durant, and then we'll talk about Tyrese Maxey as well. According to The Athletic, Sam Amick, he said the Celtics trade offer with Jaylen Brown has them in the lead currently to trade for Kevin Durant. Now, Boston can offer one of the best trade chips among all trade packages out there in JB, a guy whose offensive game has really gotten better over the last couple of years. Same draft class as Ben Simmons, and I think that Jaylen Brown has become the better, more lethal two-way player as compared to Simmons, especially on the offensive end of the floor with scoring the basketball, has the three-point shot. He's also very athletic. And what the Celtics offer for KD could come down to, if a trade gets done or not, is the additional pieces that Boston could include in the deal. Malcolm Brogdon maybe, a Marcus Smart, a Grant Williams, maybe even a Peyton Pritchard, some of those other types. Derek White, you throw him into the equation as well, but although Malcolm Brogdon was just traded to the Celtics, he can't get traded for a little while. But you're talking about the additional pieces in this trade being more than just Jaylen Brown. And the Celtics trading for KD or not trading for KD impacts Philadelphia either way, because the Sixers, let's be honest, let's be real. We've said this over the last week and change since the report came out about KD having the Sixers on his list of destinations. They're not going to trade for Kevin Durant. At least I don't think so. They don't have the package, nor do I think they should or will give up Tyrese Maxey. But if he does go to Boston, it also impacts Philadelphia because that's another team in the way of the Sixers trying to make another deep run in the playoffs and get past the second round for the first time since 2001. Now, when you circle back to the Nets' asking price, if I'm Brooklyn, if I'm Sean Marks, I need Jaylen Brown and I need Marcus Smart in the deal. If I'm only getting one, then I'm not going to say yes to the trade. And I talked about some of those other assets. Marcus Smart might be the player who does get a deal done, and the difference between whether or not it's finalized or just a rumor that doesn't come to fruition. So if I'm the Nets, I'm asking for Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart for KD, one of the best offensive players that we've ever seen. And if KD were to get sent to Boston, operating under the premise that Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart were dealt, this starting five is still really, really good, and their bench unit wouldn't really suffer all that much depending on what you include in that trade package acquisition. So Malcolm Brogdon, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Robert Williams, Al Horford, you still get to go with that 4 or 5 big lineup, but you get 2 elite wings and a really good point guard in Brogdon if he's able to stay healthy. And you stack that up with what the Sixers could try out there if they just stand pat, which I want them to do and think that they will do at the end of the day. James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, P.J. Tucker, Joel Embiid. Both of those lineups would be 2 of the best in the Eastern Conference. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But if it came down to a 7-game series, who do you think would be victorious in this great rivalry? PHI for Philadelphia, BOS for the Boston Celtics. I'm feeling all of your responses in the comment section right now. Now, if the Celtics were to take Jaylen Brown off the trade block, what does that mean for Tyrese Maxey's trade value? We'll get to that coming up around the corner, but first, I asked you to subscribe to Philadelphia Eagles Now. Got to subscribe to Philadelphia 76ers Now as well, because I'm taking over as Mr. Philadelphia here at Chat Sports. Interactive, informative, entertaining 76ers coverage right here. So join the movement, join the party, join the family by hitting that red sub button down below. Now to Tyrese Maxey. He is a very, very valuable trade asset for a couple of reasons. He's 21 years old. He's really affordable moving forward and for the next couple of years. We've seen exponential growth for him from year 1 to year 2, and what tells us it's not going to continue in year 3. This guy loves getting in the lab and working on his game, and because of that, he has so much potential. And you talk about him being an affordable asset. This upcoming year, it's a steal. If you're getting Maxey 20 points per game and one of the most lethal guard creators in the NBA because he's only earning $2.7 million in base salary, restricted free agent in 2024, so he's under team control for a little while. He could elect to play that final year if he doesn't sign that rookie max deal, which could be $195 million. I guarantee you that with his representation, that is Rich Paul in Clutch Sports, they might decide to play the final year out so that he doesn't test free agency and instead bypass that 5-year $195 deal and then try to improve his craft so that he can get an even larger contract worth even more than that $220 to $230, $240, $250 million. And with Rich Paul, they always try to maintain that leverage. So if Brown is off the table, does Tyrese Maxey become the best trade chip in the NBA for Kevin Durant for a deal that can actually happen? It might, because Maxey does have a lot of value for all the reasons that we talked about. And I think that Jaylen Brown, you more so win championships with wings, especially two-way wings, as compared to a hybrid combo guard who's also a very good two-way player. I think I'd side with Brown, but Maxey, he's Philadelphia's son. He's the best guard that this Sixers team has drafted, going all the way back to Allen Iverson. And yes, I'm understanding that they drafted Jrue Holiday. That's how good I think that Maxey can become down the road. Who do you think has more value, though, between these two players in a trade? Because if the Celtics include Jaylen Brown, that deal might get done for KD. If the Sixers truly wanted to trade for Kevin Durant, they'd have to include Tyrese Maxey because they don't have the other assets, draft-wise or player-wise, to bring in KD. And yes, you're weighing, do we move forward with the 21-year-old who's a budding superstar, or do we go with the 34-year-old, one of the greatest players of all time, knowing that that big three of KD, James Harden, Joel Embiid would be one of the best ever? Get those votes in. Make sure you subscribe to Philadelphia Eagles Now as well as 76ers Now. Appreciate all of you for watching today's show, and keep it locked for more Sixers coverage.